Dave, we spoke early this year about the India opportunity, specifically from a Lightspeed AI portfolio point of view. What do you see yourself making significant investments this year, additionally, incrementally? What does the story look like?
Yeah, we've already made our first 3 investments in generative AI type opportunities in India. Without naming them, one of them is in education, English learning specifically. That's very interesting. And the second one, actually I'll name it, it's out there already, is a company called Portkey, which is infrastructure software to help developers build better LLM-based applications. The founder was just here the last 3 weeks, and that's been doing well. So those are 2 opportunities, one infrastructure and one consumer application. Just to add an editorial on all this, we've been talking a lot about business applications. I think consumer usage of generative AI is actually where the innovation might occur first. The new experiences type innovation, like Tome has. And there are many others in the realm of content generation, social media, education, dating, a bunch of other spaces where Gen AI is coming into play in very interesting ways. We've had people I think there have been stories out there where people have been chatting with Gen AI-based bots and gotten emotionally attached to the bots. So there's a lot of power in this stuff.
Yes, there is. Speaking about this power, Ravi Rajan, through the conversations that I've been having here on this trip, I think one thing is very, very clear, that this is a point in history that has the potential of having a transformative impact. And the question now is, how many spaceships are you going to see, take off? Some of these companies have the potential, or at least you believe they have the potential to escape velocity. How do you see the transformative impact at this point in time?
Yeah, I think I would, one of the big things we've been thinking about this, like, across the board in our partnership, it's sort of like a consensus view that this is one of the biggest transformations of our lifetime, right? And the impact of this revolution on human productivity is likely going to surpass even the Industrial Revolution. We are still early, right? And what we don't know is the timing, whether it takes 3-4 years or it takes multi-decade journey, but it is going to happen. We are seeing changes across the board, but to Dave's point, it's going to fundamentally change how we think about healthcare, right? It's going to fundamentally change how we think about education. Now, everyone can learn at their own pace, right? Because the generative AI instructor can be super personalized and adaptive, right? It'll change drug discovery, it'll change healthcare, as I mentioned. It's going to change a lot of fundamental things across the board. And I think that is hard to fathom. Like last week, McKinsey came out with a report on the impact of generative AI on business, and they quoted like this could be up to $4.4 trillion of impact in global economy. To put this in perspective, it's larger than the entire GDP of United Kingdom, right? And that's just business. We're not even talking about things it can do. Like, for example, one of the things I'm excited about is this is all the conversation around how we are thinking about large language models on text. But these large models, the concept of large models, could be in different modalities, right? And I think about robotics and how that really changes the objects moving in physical world. So it's just the beginning of a massive cycle. And we are sort of like thinking about it across the board and saying like, we need to be on top of it. We need to understand as deeply as we can. And there will be a lot of fascinating companies coming out of it in the coming years that we should be partnering with.
Just to add to that, I think as Lightspeed, we've been investing a bunch at the infrastructure layers. So just, I think it was last week, Raviraj, or maybe 2 weeks ago, we announced an investment in Europe in a large language model there called Mistral.ai. Last year, I think it was, that we announced investment in Stability, which is one of the early sort of leaders in this category. And so on and so forth. We've got a company that started in Singapore, has now moved here, called Supabase, that's building out a vector store, which is another key layer of infrastructure in this space. So we as Lightspeed are just at all these layers are coming in: consumer applications, middleware, infrastructure, security, lots of different areas, and couldn't be more excited. We also don't want to overplay it. So there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of froth. I would say, from a valuation perspective in AI, there is a little bit of a bubble that's formed out there. So we're being again, just consistent. We'll continue investing before, after, during this whole thing, and just excited. And it might take a few decades in terms of the build out, but we're there.
It's all about, we are in the business of working with the smartest people and the most ambitious people on really game-changing things, and that's what we do consistently.
You're here for the long ride.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
But Raghu, enough money raised at this point in time, over $100 million is what you've raised since inception. So plenty of runway for growth at this point in time. What are the next milestones that you've set for yourself?
Yeah, I think we have plenty of runway, and I think we have a lot of customers as well, which continues to grow. And I think with the last 6 months have been quite pivotal around what our ambition around the company can be, right? So far, as I said, AI showed the promise that you can automate a good part of the customer support stack. And right now we believe that it probably can automate the entire 100%. So you kind of go from automation assisted to fully autonomous kind of support, which is, the market is its current spend is $1 trillion. It'll take quite a few years. It's not an industry that can change really fast, but going in that direction, I think the entire enterprise software stack for customer experience, right from automation to contact center to service desk, to ticketing, all of these have been built over the last 20 years, assuming that humans are going to provide the support. And we believe that this entire stack need to be rethought about, right? The same stack will not work in a completely different era where automation is probably 80 to 100% of the interactions. So we believe that's an opportunity to, play a big part and pivotal role in the new stack that's going to define customer support, right? So that's our ambition.
Speaking of the new, let me address the old with you, Keith. And your purpose was really to break the walled garden of Microsoft, so to speak. But how do you see the incumbents reacting to companies like yours?
I mean, I think what we're seeing is sort of a very surface level response, which is to say that if you're building a document tool or a slide tool, we've seen movies about generating images there or editing some text there. But I think while the incumbents are playing in sort of the last mile of documents and presentations, we're moving higher up in the idea generation process. We're moving to a world where you can show up to Tome with the kernel of an idea, whether you want to build a website or a pitch deck or a memo, and then we ask you questions, we ingest data from your enterprise, from your hard drive, and you shape your idea and the crystallization of it with Tome to the point where we're actually helping you structure thought rather than helping you move images and text around on a box. So I would say that we're just on a completely different plane than the incumbents when it comes to the way we're approaching sort of modern productivity.
How do you see this David versus Goliath battle playing out, Dave? Because at least as far as the large language models are concerned, at this point in time, given the capital requirements, it looks like they do have an advantage and an edge. But it's in the innovative layers that we spoke about that the expectation is that people like Keith and Raghu will be able to move forward.
I think the answer just lies in history. Did Electronic Arts win mobile games? No, Zynga did. Right? Did some taxi company win the mobile wars? No, Uber did, and Ola in India, and so on and so forth. So and it's not just at that consumer application layer. In business applications, customer support has been around for 50 years. It's not a new, but every new platform has brought about a shift in the leaders in that category. So that's the opportunity over here, certainly with Tome and with Yellow. Right? And then these new experiences that'll come around. Like I said, we don't know what they're going to be, and I don't. If I knew, I'd go do it myself. But, what is the Zynga what is the gaming equivalent with foundational models, and what is the Match.com equivalent in dating? What is the idea generation sort of leader in this new world? Who knows what that'll shape up like? But it's certainly not the leaders of 10 years ago, despite they making a lot of defensive moves. with co-pilots, but it's going to be a new generation. That's what history shows us.
Well, a new generation that we look forward to. Dev, Raviraj, Raghu, and Keith, it's been an absolute pleasure. We wish you all the very best of luck with your individual efforts and endeavors, and we look forward to hearing more from you as the story develops and as the change that you hope to make brings about the disruption that you hope for. Thanks very much for joining us here on Young Turks. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this special edition of Young Turks as we turn 21. But we will take a quick break and come right back with the news here on CNBC TV 18. From all of us here on the team, for now, goodbye and thanks for watching.